Workshop. The workshop will bring together representatives from Germany, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Burkina Faso, Peru, Ecuador, Nicaragua, for more discussions on how municipalities can safeguard their communities from the potentially devastating impact of climate change. Our reporter Jayde-Leigh Paulse is covering this story for us. Jayde-Leigh, very good morning to you. You know, something that caught my eye over the past couple of days was this group called Extinction Rebellion. They have been holding these protests, climate change protests, around the world. The aim was to shut down various cities around the world, but majority happening in Britain. And some of the conversations that coming out there is to draw awareness to the pertinent issue of climate change. I assume that similar conversations are being had where you are.
A very good morning to you, Blaine, and to the viewers at home, and welcome to Jeffreys Bay, the surfing mecca. And you know, Blaine, it's quite fitting that this climate change workshop is happening in Jeffreys Bay because it is the surfing mecca of the world, and climate change affects not only the animals, it affects the people, but it also affects the ocean and the current and how that tends to flow. So there's a lot that's being discussed here, robust discussions that are taking place between those countries, several countries also in attendance, like you mentioned before, but also coming with solutions to combat, the ever-changing climate and also the effects of global warming and our food security, because this in turn affects human beings. But with me, I'm going to rope in one of the environmental health officials from Namibia, and he's from a municipality called Okohanya, Mr. Katobiri Kamwe-Gona, and he's going to be talking about what they are experiencing in Namibia with regards to climate change and how it's affecting their, food availability, but also the animals and also the landscapes at large. Thank you so much for joining us. So in terms of the, climate change, and also in terms of the workshop that's taking place here, I know that there's been several talks about how one can come up with solutions, but in terms of your country, what are the severe challenges that you are experiencing at the moment?
Good morning or afternoon to all. What we are experiencing in Namibia, it's a severe drought that has been repeating the past 3 to 4 years. As we are speaking now, our president has called for a state of emergency because of the drought in Namibia. And all these are signs and symptoms of the global changes, global warming, and all the activities that we are engaged in that is actually damaging, causing these global changes. So in Namibia, I can say at the moment we are in trouble. We don't have rains. As a country, we don't receive a lot of rains. But repeatedly throughout the 3-4 years, our rains have been reducing. So our country is under a severe drought. We have lost a lot of animals, and it's obvious when you lose a lot of animals, it means you lose a lot of food availability, and that will also cause people to go to cities. So you have a lot of flooding of immigrants flooding into the cities, and that alone also puts stress on our cities. Yeah.
I just want to bring it back to these kind of workshops now. A similar situation is happening in South Africa, where we're also experiencing droughts, we're experiencing floods. I mean, just a couple of months ago, there was severe flooding in our KwaZulu-Natal province, and here in the Eastern Cape as well as the Western Cape as well. Very severe droughts with our farmers also being affected, and that also in turn affecting the meat supply of the country. Now, with food security in Namibia, how are you faring?
As a country, we are very good friends with South Africa. We rely on South Africa on a lot of food imports. So, but talking about flood is that when you come out of a drought like this, it means your land is dry. There is no vegetation that can hold the water. So we are at risk also for floods. So that is what we are expecting. If we happen to get rains that are above measures, then floods are also imminent. They are coming. So, as I have said, that in terms of food security, we import a lot of foodstuff from South Africa. So if South Africa is experiencing a food shortage, that simply means Namibia is the same. And we also export a lot of beef from Namibia towards South Africa. So if our stock in Namibia it's not there, it means our source of revenue as a country is also affected. So Namibia, we are affected negatively due to climate changes. Economically, we are affected. Locally, the local person on the ground is affected. Businesses are affected. So it is very, very important that we look at these issues of global warming and find solutions in order to mitigate and bring in ideas to adapt very quickly.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Katobiri Kamugona. He is one of the municipal officials that is attending this workshop here in Jeffreys Bay. As you said, Blaine, there's 100 delegates from various parts of the country that have descended here into Jeffreys Bay to discuss climate change and global warming. And, you know, quite interesting, he touched on food security and how South Africa also has a large role to play with regards to providing other countries with food, including the meat industry. But there are robust discussions happening here on the ground, and several of these countries are trying to find solutions with regards to combating, you know, the global warming and climate change, and also securing those municipalities across the country and ensuring that those communities, especially the ones that are impoverished, are also not affected by this. But we'll be keeping you up to breast with what's happening on the ground, and it's back to you in studio.
Yeah, no doubt important issues, robust conversations plus action, many would say, is needed at this time. Jayde-Leigh Paulse, live for us in Jeffreys Bay, Eastern Cape. Thank you.